and he shakes the hand. And Putin obliging, Putin not minding it because of the kind of red carpet welcome he's getting, because the kind of, the end of isolation. And I think Ursula von der Leyen and Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron, and what would be happening there, they would be watching it with so much trepidation. Look at the salute there of Trump to his own guard. And President Putin walking along. They're having a conversation. Would they be having a conversation in Yankee English? What would they be talking about, Shravan?
I'm quite interested because, whether at all the meeting that they are...
All right, that's up. Okay. That's a welcome given through their
at least
for their fighter aircraft.
Twice I've already seen President Trump cozying up a little bit.
And are they going to have their national anthems played? Seems like that.
Looks like you would have the F-22 on both the sides right now that have been lined up.
President, what's your message to Vladimir Putin? Mr. Putin, did you underestimate?
So this
it's a photo op. Yes, it's a photo op. The questions are being asked. Let's. Can we up the sound, please? Up the audio, please.
President Putin, how can the U.S. trust your words? Thank you, press.
All right, but just a photo op. There were some questions.
So
Putin said, I can't hear it. And he's being given a demo of F-35s or what?
This is the F-22.
This is the F-22
stealth fighters. At least 4 of them are lined up as part of the photo ops. Now you have
and they're driving together. They're driving together. It's not that they are going to be in different cars. So President Putin gets to sit in the beast along with President Trump. Is that right? Right? They're sitting together? Yes, seems like they're sitting together.
It's quite a departure from
protocol.
Generally seen. You wouldn't have had, the president of another country being part of the beast. Now that's quite a departure from the US traditions.
We have had earlier pictures of Prime Minister Modi being taken in the beast by President Obama when Prime Minister Modi was in the United States for the first time.
Circumstances.
Obviously, these are different circumstances.
These are different circumstances, keeping in mind that someone who was almost seen as a pariah all this while now gets a direct entry to the beast. Next would be the White House perhaps, but we don't know what's going to really transpire. But it seems that all efforts have essentially been made to have the icebreaker right now. Both the leaders coming together. President Trump sees this as a great opportunity for him, for himself being projected as a world leader who's brokering peace. And that's exactly why, at least 2 counts that I could see, Abhishek, that you have that famous pull-in, as you pointed out, and also putting his hands around President Putin, giving that warmth in the relationship suddenly.
It's both with Trump. It's warmth, Shravan, and it's domination. So Trump tries to sort of dominate with this kind of body language where he's being both friendly and then controlling at the same time.
And as far as President Putin is concerned, I don't know whether I'm correct or not in this, Abhishek, but he certainly came across as a man who's extremely relaxed right now. He, at least from the body language, the typical President Putin gait, which was, there you have both the leaders smiling here. President Putin, I haven't seen President Putin smiling so much, Abhishek, at least. All this while all that we saw was inside Kremlin, the only images that came in of President Putin. But this,
all the graces, smiles and claps and hugs and
look at the way he's actually walking on that red carpet. He knows that the agenda that he has on his mind has been achieved to a greater extent. The very fact that today he has landed on American soil, he's been welcomed by an American president. He's answered to the critics sitting out of Europe who thought that they would have been able to pursue the American agenda for a very long time. But it seems things are rapidly changing. Now, whether at all both the leaders will be able to continue with the camaraderie that we are essentially witnessing right now is something that one is going to wait and watch, because what happens inside the room right now, there is a change. What was earlier decided to be a one-on-one meeting, it seems for a certain reason, it's now been expanded to a 3-on-3 meeting. And then, of course, there is an expanded bilateral meeting that's going to take place with host of delegations, host of other leaders joining in. In fact, there is also a confirmation, Abhishek, coming in as to who exactly would be there from the Russian delegation. As we had predicted, it's the foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, and Yuri Ushakov, who's also the policy advisor of President Putin, who's going to be part of the 3-on-3 meeting.
I'm curious, Shawan. I'm still thinking of this moment, the presence of mind of Trump of saluting the guard, and the exact spot where Trump walks in and waits, the other side from where Putin walks in, and the friendly banter they have, sort of, breaking the ice, very comfortable, at ease, you rightly notice, and they meet as people who are familiar with each other. They meet as friends. They look at the aircraft, which has given them sort of a sortie salute, and then the photo op. The shake hand, they pull in. Look at the pull in. Look at the pull in. That's like, okay, fine, mate.
Tapping.
Good to see you. And let's have a nice conversation. Let's have some takeaways. What do you think they would have spoken about?
I think so. It's clear that President Trump is the first indication that he's made is of the deal itself, because here you have a business tycoon also. Let's not forget, it's a typical way of what you would have had President Trump essentially trying to woo the others. And the client here is none other than President Putin here. And look at just a moment later, when it seems like President Trump actually says something and President Putin couldn't perhaps really, that's the bow that he's actually bowing down the left-hand side and trying to hear what exactly President Trump has to say. And then, of course, there is a host of questions essentially that are being asked to both the leaders. It seems at that point in time, President Putin indicated to President Trump that he's unable to hear the questions, and that's when both the leaders actually departed. Interestingly, both the leaders left in the same car. So is that also another moment when both the leaders will get a chance?
I mean, that seemed like impromptu, because President Putin has flown his own Urus limousine, and we saw the pictures of that car earlier.
Do you think in a case of at least for the Russians,